Ni wewe walefuaya Kafwa wabaranda Mwe umfokulila kwa bantu Kasama yusi Mose bachinda mea bakulu na banda Mose bashitata na banda mayo banelila we mwamba Kasama ilefuaya iwe wile webo weshi mwamba Later experience Olankale wabomba Mwamba Emmanuel Mose bakasama Walefuaya mwamba Emmanuel Mwamba Emmanuel Bongazama wakulira Tulefoya mwamba wesu Emmanuel Chipale ni PF Tulefoya mwamba wesu Emmanuel Wakuito uwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Tulefoya Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Bongazama wakulira Silver Mix Piwa Tulefoya mwamba
Good evening and welcome to today's brief. Today we are discussing the high price of Mealie-Meal. Mealie-Meal has jumped from somewhere around 230 to 300 and up to 350. It's ranging between 250 and 350. I'll invite you to come and discuss this matter with me because I think it's very critical. You call us on 0773 783 785. The number must be scrolling underneath. The high cost of Mealie-Meal is occurring at a very difficult time in the life of our country because the economy, hasn't been doing well the last 3 years. And there are various indicators that will show you that the economy is not doing very well. First, the basic needs and nutrition basket, especially for Lusaka, is at 9,239 and 45 ingwe for Lusaka. Lusaka is the most expensive place to stay in Zambia. And the basic needs and nutrition basket gathers how much a family of 6, how much it would cost to feed a family of minimum 6. So it picks critical things like 2 bags of 25 kg of Mealie-Meal, chicken, carpenter, vegetable cooking oil, sugar, and salt. This is before you look at issues of rentals, before you look at your transport cost to work, before you look at any other needs, the cost of electricity and water. You require 9,239. And how much do our people get? This has been an issue. I've been a very critical voice against government's failure to turn around the economy. Of course, I've been saying it's a debt. But there were easy fruits, such as resolving the issue of KCM and Mopani. There was no need to look for foreign investment. We should have tasked ZCCM IH to deal with the issue of KCM and Mopani. And when the economy becomes to do better, then we can invite stakeholders, we can invite equity partners to Mopani and KCM. The foreign exchange rate and the foreign exchange market has been very volatile. Zambia is an import-oriented country, and the volatility of this has not helped the economy because we import literally everything, and it's vacillating. Within weeks, it comes down to 1,600, jumps up to 2021. Currently, it's at 19.7. Just last week, it was at 18.2, and now it's at 19.7 within a period of 7 days. It's quite difficult for our businessmen and importers and exporters to plan because you don't know what the kwacha will cost just tomorrow. we have higher unemployment rate. This is historical. And our people, young people, especially those that voted, are waiting for jobs. And these jobs are nowhere to be seen. There's literally no money in the economy attributable to, I think, lack of economic activities, and government hasn't paid most of, especially the local debt. It has attempted to restructure the foreign debt, but paid little attention to our local debt. And all those are impacting on the economy. When you come to the price of Mealie-Meal, why is it expensive? There are various factors. Let's start with the crop focus survey that was launched last month by the Minister of Agriculture. The crop focus survey is done by Ministry of Agriculture, Zambia Statistics Agency, and it looks at the post-harvest survey. How much did we harvest, especially in cereals and tubers? And some of the critical information that has come is that our farmers that farmed in 2022, the number grew to 2.5 million farmers, smallholder and medium scale farmers from 1.7 million last year. But about 91,000 hectares of land was affected by heavy rains and flash floods. So the crops were damaged, and over 219,610 hectares of land, of crops were affected by the dry spell and attributable to climate change. We also had army worms and stalk borers that affected the farmers. So the yield dropped by almost 500,000 metric tons. Remember, in 2021 and 2022, we had very big harvests of 3.5 and 3.7 million metric tons. But now it has dropped to 3.2 million metric tons. And even experts are wondering if this is a true number. They think that it should be far, far below than the numbers that have been indicated in the crop focus survey, because of the issues around fertilizer distribution and farming input last year. It was chaotic. Farmers didn't receive on time their fertilizer. In fact, the fertilizer for Beso, the one you apply when the crops are just coming out of the grounds and germinating, was arriving in January when you are supposed to apply the top dressing fertilizer. So we expected a far lower harvest than the 3.2 million metric tons that has been given. Per year, we have a consumption, especially of maize, of 3.2 million metric tons. This is because our population has grown. It's now at 20.4 million people. And then the industrial consumption that we use for stock feeds and others, so the total is 3.2 million metric tons, and our maize harvest was 3.2. You can clearly see that we have challenges. Although FRIS said it had a surplus of about 209,000 metric tons, because they had reserves of up to 400,000 in the month that the announcement was being made, and they had stopped giving to millers, and they said the country will have a surplus of 209,000. But I should emphasize that the people that are already trying to buy maize in Petauke, Chipata, Solwezi, across the country, are having difficulties to buy that maize, because I think the maize is just not available. Our smallholder farmers could be holding on for a higher price, even when the price has been increased from 180 kwacha per 50 kg bag to 280 kwacha. And this is one of the reasons and one of the factors why Mealie-Meal is quite high, because the input cost of 280 kwacha is a bit steep. So we have that challenge. And so I'll invite you to call me on 0773 783 785. We'll use one number for both WhatsApp and ordinary calls. We'll use that same number to ensure that you reach us and participate. What can be done? What can be done? I was reading up literature and noticed that government is attempting to migrate from the Farmer Input Support Program to a comprehensive agriculture transformation program. CAP, I think it will be CATIP, Comprehensive Agriculture Transformation Program. They're trying to reform using policy instruments. They will bring legislative reform to enhance job creation and food nutrition. FRA will only buy 500,000 metric tons at 280 kwacha per 50 kg bag. This translates to 5,600 kwacha metric ton per metric ton. They'll only buy about 1,000 metric tons of paddy rice, and the price for paddy rice is 200 kwacha per 40 kg. I don't know why they use 40 kg instead of 50 kg. They assessed from farm gate and open market prices, then came up with these prices of 280 kwacha and 200 kwacha per paddy rice. We have some good news, but not very good news. Where soya is being sold, FRA will buy at 6 kwacha per kg. Last year, it was 11 kwacha per kg. This is unfair to our farmers, who, especially looking at the chaotic nature of farmer input support program and the mechanism in which failed to distribute fertilizer on time. As a backup plan, most of our farmers went for soybeans and invested a lot in soybean. And soybeans has a huge market, even in China and in South Africa. Soya cake costs even more than the beans itself when you make it into a cake. So there is no justification for the FRA to rip off our farmers, our soybean farmers, where now they're offering a token price of 6 kwacha. If I were a commercial user, I will immediately buy as much as possible of soya. We have the first call. Let me get who's calling to help me with the debate this evening. Good evening.
Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You know the program, we are discussing high price of Mealie-Meal and what can be done.
Indeed, my brother, this is a very important conversation to be had. By the way, my name is Andrew. I'm calling in from Ndola.
Yes, Andrew from Ndola. Please make your contributions.
Yes. Yes. This is a very important conversation we must have as a country, and we must be honest to each other. You see, my brother, what we are trying to do today, okay, we should have done this some 20 years ago, setting up fertilizer plants.
Yes, continue.
Empowering the small-scale farmers to start plowing their lands with tractors instead of those hoes, making those input programs of seeds, fertilizers, banking services, farmer support education, better farming methods. We should have done that 20 years ago. You see, the world is moving at such a high pace. Now we find ourselves whereby you find that our farmers are using farming methods which were used 60, 70, 80 years ago, and we expect that we can be food sustainable. That cannot happen. We have to start farming in a smart way, okay? Our farmers have to make the most of their lands, okay? If we see that in Southern Province, the rainfall patterns are different from Northern Province, so what type of crop can we promote in Southern Province? We have to promote sorghum, millet, cassava, yam, those crops which can be sustainable in those areas. If we see that maize, it's a high input crop,
It requires a lot of labor. It requires a lot of fertilizer. It requires a lot of things such that, my brother, to be honest, to say a bag of Mealie-Meal will come to a 50 kwacha, my brother, we are being dishonest to ourselves, and not only that, to the future generation. I understand there are political ramifications, there are promises made, but we have to build a sustainable future for our children, because this country was handed to us by those who sacrificed much, my brother. I don't have to give you a lecture. You know what people sacrificed for our country. So the high Mealie-Meal prices, what can we do? Let us diversify. Why can't Zambians come to a point and say, in a situation where Mealie-Meal is expensive, can't we produce more rice? Can't we produce more millet, sorghum, cassava? Start shifting, because at the end of the day, to live healthy, to have a nutrition, to have good nutrition, it's not only maize, but also rice, sorghum. How our brothers in Tanzania surviving? They are healthy, they are productive, but are they eating maize only? No. Their dietary content is very wide. My brother, you know this.
Oh, Andrew, did we lose you, Andrew? Oh. Okay, so Andrew has made very powerful points there.
Yes,
Oh, you are still there? Yes, Andrew. Yes, Andrew.
You know this.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, let us be food product. Let us be diverse in our crop production, crop management, and also the income side of Zambians. You see today, you see young people earning meager salaries of 1,800, 1,200. My brother, today, how can you pay for your household needs, your rentals, to save honestly? Even if the bag is 100 kwacha, you are saying 10% of your salary will just go towards to buy a bag of Mealie-Meal. Is that healthy? No. So there are a lot of things which are not right in our country, which we must start to address now, to fix now. And the fixing sometimes can be painful. If you twist your leg, you twist your arm, for the doctor to fix it, you have to put it in the socket, and it will be a bit of a painful process, and we must accept that. I do not want to make any political say, no, this is what no, but my interest as a youth is to leave this country in a better position for my children and my grandchildren, so that they can appreciate and say, our forefathers did this for us, and let's build on this foundation. How are those countries like Singapore, Dubai, China, Vietnam, how have they built their countries within 60 years to where they are? They didn't use slavery, they didn't use imperialistic tactics, but hard work. We should get those economic blueprints and try and fuse in with our own economic solutions and build our countries. Otherwise, my brother, I like your approach to policies and conversations. I do follow you, and I hope this have been a positive contribution to your platform, your program.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. I'm grateful. I think Andrew has made some critical points there. He has emphasized on the need, number one, to mechanize our farming, because our smallholder farmers are still using, utumbuiri, and that can only get you so far. And his argument is that we should farm better. And he has called for education, new farming methods. He's also called for proper financial support to our farmers. And he also attributed to smart way of farming. We know areas that are arid, are dry, and we know areas that are wet, because we know that the rain patterns have been shifting due to climate change, and we don't help with those cutting of many trees for that fuel, malasha that we use. That has to come to an end. Someone has to make a very hard decision. We can use coal in place of charcoal. We can use coal briquettes. That is also affecting our farmers, because we've cleared almost all trees in many places, and there are areas like Kaoma, Nkeema and Solwezi, some parts of northern Muchinga and Wapula that still have, and eastern province that still have a lot of trees. But at the rate we are cutting our trees and decimating our forests, is not acceptable. 50 kwacha, the President Hakainde Hichilema, has been quoted several times because he insisted that he will reduce the price of Mealie-Meal to 50 kwacha. Andrew says this is not feasible, but the President made this argument, and it has become a point of ridicule to him, because everyone is asking, Mr. President, you found Mealie-Meal at 130, you said you bring it at 50 kwacha, now it has skyrocketed, it's going between 250 to 400 kwacha depending on where you are. And remember, July, August and September, this is a period you have the lowest price of Mealie-Meal in the history of this country. It begins to rise around October, November and January as you prepare for the new harvest. Because between June, July, August, this is a time that you do your harvest. In fact, remember, the farming season would not open until around end of July, August or September, because we even had to wait for the maize to dry up for storage. But here we opened the gates to buy maize as early as May. Many of us said because there's no maize available, we had ended, we had decimated our reserves. We played two videos, one showing the export and the one by the President talking about Mealie-Meal, how he was going to reduce it to 50 kwacha.
Pa bunga pa mtengo 145 150. Because we lower the cost of production, we should be able to deliver Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha, 25 kg bag. Absolutely, 50 kwacha, 55 kwacha. We have no money. Amantuteba kwa tolupia. Ulibashitashani pa bunga pa mtengo 145 150. Because we lower the cost of production, we should be able to deliver Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha, 25 kg bag. Absolutely, 50 kwacha, 55 kwacha. We have no money. Amantuteba kwa tolupia. Ulibashitashani pa bunga pa mtengo 145 150. Because we lower the cost of production, we should be able to deliver Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha, 25 kg bag. Absolutely, 50 kwacha, 55 kwacha. We have no money. Amantuteba kwa tolupia. Ulibashitashani.
Yeah, so we will play. The President was very critical. He kept on saying that he was going to reduce the price of Mealie-Meal to 50 kwacha. And he said he would reduce the price of fertilizer, cost of inputs. He says he would use market principles, but this has not worked. And if in July, August, the price of Mealie-Meal is over 300 kwacha, how much will it be in September, October, November, December? This is clearly unaffordable for our people. Remember what I said is that we are facing one of the worst period of high cost of living in our country. I think the worst in the last 30 years. The price of Mealie-Meal, the food and nutrition basket is over 9,000 kwacha 239, and this is just for basic essential foodstuffs. Mealie-Meal, some carpenter, vegetables, cooking oil, sugar and salt, and for a family of 6 is costing over 9,200 kwacha. The economy is not doing well either, and I've got a caller. Good evening, and please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Eugene, calling you from the Asia office. Thank you.
Eugene, wonderful. Did my
yes.
were you unblocked from my page?
No, maybe they forgot.
I'll tell my admin.
I'm sure maybe they forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. Just a quick one on the issue of Mealie-Meal. I was just thinking about it today. If you look at chicken, I think the chickens now, one is going at, is it 70, 80, somewhere there? Is it 80, 90 kwacha, the chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if we say that we bring down Mealie-Meal to 50 kwacha, it doesn't really make sense, because imagine one chicken at 70 kwacha or 80 kwacha, then a bag of Mealie-Meal with all that powder in that bag, you say it at 50 kwacha. We are just killing ourselves at the end of the day. So the best, from my point of view, the right price should be in the range of 185 to 250, somewhere there, a bag of Mealie-Meal. If you sell it at that, it will be able to attract more people to come into the business. Because if you are selling a bag of Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha, then how much will companies make? You find that that business employed and all that. But if we keep it at 50 kwacha, then are we really helping ourselves? We are not. So those were just political gimmicks that H8 would have used. But in reality, because look at it this way, our neighbors, around our neighbors, like in Tanzania, in Congo, all those that surrounds us, how much is, because I think all our neighbors, I think they all eat Mealie-Meal. They eat in Shima? Most of them, is it?
They do.
Most of them are, yes. So if you ask in those countries, how much is it fetching at? If you in Zambia we keep it at 50 kwacha, then our neighbors, maybe they are selling it close to 500. We are creating pressure on our country, which will fail to sustain. So there are so many issues that we need to look at. I feel it's not economic sense to keep Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha. No matter how we can convince ourselves, the best way we can do is maybe try to support farmers through FISIP, so that more people grow their own food. Then those who are in town, they are able to buy their own Mealie-Meal on their own. Then those in the villages, you support them with fertilizer. The same way they pay 400 kwacha, then they correct like 6 bags. They're able to grow their own food. At least that will be more sustainable than bringing the bag of Mealie-Meal to. It's more or less like the way we're doing it. We keep fuel at 17 kwacha. Then all these mines, we complain that they pay a little tax. Then they are also buying cheaper fuel, which Zambians are subsidizing, which wasn't making sense, because they should pay a fuel according to the way it's supposed to be, so that the other benefit is channeled to the citizens. So at the end of the day, we need to sit down and say, okay, what will be more beneficial? Because even if we say we keep it at 50 kwacha, are we helping ourselves? Because if we keep it at 50 kwacha, which means we need to look for money to maintain that Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha, so eventually be in debt over and over, which will not help our country. That's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you, Eugene.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
I just want to contribute only 2 things.
Yes, who's calling?
This is a good citizen from United States of America.
Yes, my brother, how are you?
I'm all right, sir. I just wanted to find out, Ambassador Mwamba, about the price of Mealie-Meal. Is this thing becoming normal or what? Because I'm failing to understand. Who's the Ambassador Mwamba? One was a space that went up a radio station, a TV station. Wakamba maningi pali economy. That wanabo konza economy. Manje economy wanabo konza Ambassador Mwamba. Ni economy ya bwandi. Chakutu mnapeza unga ulipa 115, 120. Lelo unga wafika pa 3 or 5. Uku nikukonza loko nikuononga. Nifunsaako uku nikukonza loko nikuononga. Chalamba tu ambassador Mwamba. Nikumbukira wakanyama ndiye kwati wakanyama nikumbuka 2014 wa president wa HH wanabwira kwa kanyama kutoshuka ground kupanga rally 14 November 2014 wanakamba tingati wankala wa president wazakapisha ma street vendor so nshwa president wa mashita vintu opposite wanakamba tiwakabwera unga uzankala 50 kwacha wakabwera so wazakapisha ma vendor apatika amba unga ulipa 305 wanapisha ma street vendor so tizakamba tiwa president wanana amalo koswana name so nefanya ziwe kwa ambassador Mwamba starting from today boza ilibwanji nifuna kuziwa boza ilibwanji because me I call a spade a spade. Yeah. Even our president Lungu bwana kusokoneza sometime back me I used to talk. Ile ni makamba sini mafanya muntu aliyense because I talk for the Zambians. Tinawana. So nifuna niziwa president fana kamba pa 14 November I date nice unga 14 November 2014. Kwa kanyama patoshuka ground. The president wanakamba act wakangala wa president. So zakapisha ma vendors. Wakangala wa president unga uzakabwa pa 50 kwacha so wa president vichavana kamba wenze kunama lokona kamba bazona cause nzamba wala kumbali kuli muzanga Eugene amakamba chizungu chamushe maningi but ngatabwa pali program akazibwa na mafact sikoma kwambi sako nda mazambia ni Eugene.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my dear brother from the US. Eugene raised a fundamental issue. He says it's not possible that the price of Mealie-Meal can be at 50 kwacha. In fact, it's unfair. It creates pressure for our people. And he alleges that President Hakainde Hichilema must have just been doing politics. But Eugene, as you've seen from our colleague from the US, he says, no, we took the president seriously when he promised that he would bring the price of Mealie-Meal to 50 kwacha. We didn't think that he was lying or playing politics. Good evening. I'll ask him to call back. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Mark. I'm actually calling from Los Angeles.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah. I think it's only right that the president comes out and says, no, I lied to the Zambian people. The truth of the matter is these people thought it was easy, to run the country. And according to them, with all the calculators that they were giving out, this is how we are going to do things, I think they really understood exactly what they are talking about. It's not, I want to follow up on the other caller that just said it's not realistic. UPND was in position for a long time. And they convinced the people to say this is exactly what we are going to do. And based on the information that was given, people went and voted. So what remains for them is to implement what they said they were going to do. Otherwise, people still continue saying they lied to us, and that is the fact. And you cannot falter people when they come out and tell you lied, because those are words, videos are there. This is the kind of world we live in now. You can say something today, it will be kept, and people come and use it as proof for what you said. So there's no way of running away. The truth of the matter is they have failed to run the economy. And most of the things that they spoke against the previous government, it is evident now that those were true lies. And there is nothing that they can use now to campaign. The only thing that is here now are just propagandas, this and that. But the truth of the matter, things are very bad. A common person is struggling. What the previous government had done, especially on the area of FISIP, it's about food. People don't care about what they're going to wear and all that. But if they have food, they have dignity. And that FISIP was meant to cushion. That's what a poor government does. They will forgo certain things for the benefit of the common person on the ground. And that's what FISIP was doing. So what these people have done, I don't know. Really, this is just July. I don't know where we'll be around November. It will be very, very bad. And unfortunately, I wonder why people don't want us to talk about these things. It's a fact, it's a reality. There is a problem on the ground. People are not eating. If they can't afford Mealie-Meal, what is it that they're going to do? That is our staple food. We grew up with it. Thank you so much, President Mwamba.
Thank you. Mark from Washington. Let me just do a quick recap before we play the video. I warned government that the wanton exports they were engaged in will bring food insecurity and food instability, because even with the high price of maize that we've given our farmers, if we had stocked the maize, if we had not exported it when we didn't need to export it, it could have cushioned the price for the next 3 to 4 months. But we exported literally everything and brought this food insecurity. We had the highest bumper harvest we've ever had in 2017 of 3.7 million metric tons. The bulk of it was exported. And by the time government was trying to intervene in the market and keep the price of Mealie-Meal low, it was quite difficult. They even depleted our national reserves, as you saw from the numbers I was reading earlier. Eugene says, for maize to be a commercial product, we should allow it to trend around 180 kwacha to 250 for more people to grow it. And he argues that the people in town should be able to buy it, and we help the rural community by supplying them with fertilizer. The difficulties with such a proposal, Eugene, is if your people in urban areas are working, if they've got jobs, if they've got proper entrepreneur activities that are supporting them, if they have empowerment to their entrepreneurial initiatives, then you can leave the price of Mealie-Meal to the winds. But at the moment, it's quite difficult, especially with the highest unemployment rate we've ever faced. And then you chase the street vendors. I know we are worried about orderliness and cleanliness, but the president said he would never chase the vendors. As our colleague from the US has put it, that he will bring the price of Mealie-Meal at 50 kwacha. He said he would bring fertilizer price at 250 kwacha instead of 1,000 kwacha, which is trending. He said he will bring the price of fuel at 12 kwacha instead of the 26 kwacha that's trending. So you can see. And that is why Mark says the president should come to the cameras and apologize for most of his campaign promises, because he knew that they were not attainable. And what do we call him? So let's play the video that shows the export when we're crying that government should not export the Mealie-Meal.
These are trucks from the neighboring Tanzania who are in the country in Chisamba District, Central Province, to collect maize from the Chisamba Food Reserve Agency, FRA. The presence of these trucks in the district has raised concerns among the local people, who feel maize should have been sold to the local millers, who in turn would have reduced the cost of the finished product, Mealie-Meal.
Manje nishiziko ya tuyenda kuti bana bazafa na njala kulima ni fertilizer. Then milisi yamene ili mudepo ienda yo matraki yaje yatengewa tizagula kuti tenzopulumukira ko mudepo.
However, Chisamba Member of Parliament Chushika Sanda confirmed that it is true that FRA is selling maize grain that the agency had kept from 2019, 2020 and 2021.
The maize that we have right now in this shade, we are selling. We've sold about 160,720 bags, and this stock that I'm talking about is stock from 2019, 2020, as well as 2021. So this is the maize that we have in abundance, and also to note that we had the stocks that we're actually selling off is 282,000, and from that 282,000, the ones that we have sold so far to date is 160,720.
Currently, a bag of Mealie-Meal in Chisamba is costing about 150 kwacha. Liambela Mutumba, Movie TV News, Chisamba, Central Province. These are trucks from the neighboring Tanzania who who are in the country in Chisamba District Central Province to collect maize from the Chisamba Food Reserve Agency FRA. The presence of these trucks in the district has raised concerns among the local people who feel maize should have been sold to the local millers, who in turn would have reduced the cost of the finished product, Mealie-Meal.
Manje nishiziko yatu yenda kuti bana bazafa na njala kulima ni fertilizer then milisi yamene ili mudepo iyenda yo matraki yatengewa tizagula kuti tenzopulumukirako mudepo.
However, Chisamba Member of Parliament Chushika Sanda confirmed that it is true that FRA is selling maize grain that the agency had kept from 2019, 2020 and 2021.
The maize that we have right now in this shade, we are selling. We've sold about 160,720 bags, and this stock that I'm talking about is stock from 2019, 2020, as well as 2021. So this is the maize that we have in abundance, and also to note that we had the stocks that we're actually selling off is 282,000, and from that 282,000, the ones that we have sold so far to date is 160,720.
Currently, a bag of Mealie-Meal in Chisamba is costing about 150 kwacha. Liambela Mutumba, Movie TV News, Chisamba, Central Province. These are trucks from the neighboring Tanzania who are in the country in Chisamba District Central Province to collect maize from the Chisamba Food Reserve Agency FRA. The presence of these trucks in the district has raised concerns among the local people who feel maize should have been sold to the local millers, who in turn would have reduced the cost of the finished product, Mealie-Meal.
Manje nishiziko yatu yenda kuti bana bazafa na njala kulima ni fertilizer then milisi yamene ili mudepo iyenda yo matraki yatengewa tizagula kuti tenzopulumukirako mudepo.
However, Chisamba Member of Parliament Chushika Sanda confirmed that it is true that FRA is selling maize grain that the agency had kept from 2019, 2020 and 2021.
The maize that we have right now in this shade, we are selling. We've sold about 160,720 bags, and this stock that I'm talking about is stock from 2019, 2020, as well as 2021. So this is the maize that we have in abundance, and also to note that we had the stocks that we're actually selling off is 282,000, and from that 282,000, the ones that we have sold so far to date is 160,720.
Currently, a bag of Mealie-Meal in Chisamba is costing about 150 kwacha. Liambela Mutumba, Movie TV.
Okay, as you can see, we had warned government not to export all the maize. They found a bumper harvest, they found a secure treasury, but they embarked on this wanton export, and now it is haunting us. And I need to say that we are likely going to have another chaotic farming season this year because, you know, for fertilizer, top dressing, an advert was commissioned in January. Up to now, this is July, we still don't know who won that tender. You know, these are bulk supplies. They require minimum 2-3 months to bring them in the country because you import them from Iran, from Dubai, you know, from Russia, dock either at Beira, Deben or Dar es Salaam, and then transport them, these thousands and thousands metric tons of fertilizer. And to date, this is July going into August. We don't know who won the tender for top dressing. Again, the politics have set in. We are endangering our food security even for next year. So call us on 0773 783 785. We had a flurry of calls. Andrew proposed solutions. He says we need to mechanize. He says we need to encourage our farmers to abandon the oil, I can see Eugene is back. Eugene.
Yes, I've come back once more.
America wilalanda fye chisungulalanda bwino sana chisungu. But a solution to papa.
Even him, he knows how much he buys Mealie-Meal in America. Like in my case here, we a 10 kg because here we it's the maximum
10
is up to
kg
10
there,
kg.
yes.
A 10 kg is about 13, 14 somewhere there. Which will be about 260 or something like that. Yes, but if we of course if we can argue to say, well, let's agree that he lied, then we tell him to say apologize. Okay, apologize. Which one is better for him to apologize, or if you have a solution, you tell him to say no, actually this is achievable. What we can do is ABCD. If indeed even that guy in America, if he knows the best way to reduce that, the reason why I said it's not attainable is like this. For example, this year we've said a 50 kg bag of maize will be sold at 280. So if a Mira buys a bag of maize at 280, how can we magically reduce the bag of 25 kg to 50 kwacha? It's not possible.
To be subsidized.
It's not possible. And then we are debating to say, can we pay the farmer more, or we pay the farmer less? Then because again we need to buy maize at a lower price for us to reduce the bag of 25 kg bag of Mealie-Meal. But if we pay the farmer less, they will be discouraged. They will not be able to grow unless maybe we say we tell ZNS to start growing our maize. Maybe those kind of measures eventually, maybe whereby maize is being grown by ZNS. But again, if we go that way, what will be the people be doing? And because we need to treat farming as business, that's one way we can get a better benefit. So unless we were to sit down to say, okay, the best way to reduce Mealie-Meal, if I know we want to reduce it at 50 kwacha, the best way is ABCD. But what are they? So how even you, Mr. Mwamba, how is it possible to reduce, or what are the ways we can reduce Mealie-Meal to go at 50 kwacha? If indeed it's possible, what are those ways we can apply to reduce it? That is a very complicated thing. Me, I feel the best way is with the way things have moved to bring into inflation, the aspect of inflation and the lapse of time. There's no way you can go back to 50 kwacha. You are just killing yourself. In the end, you just get yourself into debt. But do we want to be into debt? Because we are just we're trying to come out of debt. Do we want to remain in debt, or do we need to come out? If we need to come out, we need to sacrifice. That's the way I see it.
The people want the president to apologize.
Yes, he can apologize quite all right, but at the end of the day, the running of government is not entirely up to him. If anyone has the solution, I think we can present that to him, because at the end of the day, Zambia is our country. We need to see the benefit at the end of the day. It's not like just because he's a president, then he's more knowledgeable than everyone. No. If a solution can come out from anyone, provided it is something that is attainable, then yes, it has to be taken into.
Thank you. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, call us on 0773-783-785, WhatsApp or ordinary line. Let's hear your contribution. We are clearly in a crisis. Mealie-Meal price will continue to rise. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, good evening, Ambassador. This is King Fred from Kitwe.
Yes, King Fred.
Yes, Ambassador, the topic is very interesting. The issue of Mealie-Meal and maize is very, very, very cardinal to our country. Now, it's very difficult to answer this question because it centers on policy issues, you see. Now, those who are in government seem to not to tackle this issue seriously, because remember, I think from last year, the Minister of Agriculture was advised not to venture into this deal of exporting maize to DRC. And he refused on several occasions that the government will not stop the export of maize. Then again, whilst on the working holiday, the president is in southern province. I heard on news that he said Zambia will enter into an export agreement with the DRC. So it's now becoming difficult to understand what exactly this government is trying to do. See? And the issue lies in promoting the harvest or planting of maize at a high scale, because the peasant farmers are the ones who have kept the maize in this country to a level where we have had the bumper harvest. Because the commercial don't rely on the commercial farmers. Commercial farmers, they know where they take their maize from. But FRA has been buying from peasant farmers. So if we are not going to look at the issue of peasant farmers, then we are just killing ourselves. And the previous caller talked about the mechanization. How can the peasant farmer move from their level to mechanize the kind of farming? Because the cost for farming inputs implements is high. So we just have to support these peasant farmers, because even the last 4 to 5 or 6 years, the bumper harvest that we've had, the same peasant farmers with the holes they were using are the ones that made us have bumper harvest. So I am afraid the current government is not paying too much attention to this issue, because they're just more on export, and yet we have a crisis. So how do we move out of the situation? So they are the ones who are supposed to give us a guide. And if the president said he's going to reduce the cost of doing business in the agricultural sector, so that they drop the price of maize to 50 kwacha, that hasn't been done, you see. So those in government are supposed to show us the right direction for us to know how best we can do things. But they are doing the opposite. So I'm afraid I don't know how we are going to manage.
Thank you. Thank you very much, King Ford.
Hello?
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is Mealie-Meal. Let me know.
Yes, Mebin.
Therefore, Kwipshako, Ambassador Mwamba, the president who had to be at now got a 10-point plan. 10-point plan, Yaliruba. Therefore, Kwipsha, 10-point plan, you are create a Fialiruba. Because I want to take my land that by Emmanuel Mwamba, Mulefa Gamalewa Pera solution. Solution Yashan, Utma solution work with a 10-point plan, sure. Takwa, if I'm saying, if you Ambassador Mwamba, Takwa, not even a single day. Umuntu who work with a 10-point plan, short Mampera solution. Because our president is Mr. I know it all. So you can't give such a person a solution. Even everyone who Mwamba, that yeah, we could a solution. Don't give him solution. Because the person who had the 10-point plan, you can't give him solution. Thank you very much, Mr. Mwamba. Good night.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from.
Ambassador, good evening.
Good evening.
Matthews here.
Yes, Matthews.
We've been missing in action.
Yes. Now we are back. We'll try to have the discussions as frequently as possible. Matters are heating up. Mealie-Meal prices is unaffordable. The cost of living keeps on going up. I think the highest we've had in the last 30 years. Our debt issues remain unresolved. But today we're discussing the issues of Mealie-Meal. What is
I want to hope you are okay. Sure. Okay, I've been listening from few callers. Yeah. And there are so many beautiful points that are coming out. Some are saying that he apologizes, but when he apologizes, my bucket of Mealie-Meal will be full. Nothing. So the solutions we can give, there's someone who said, no, maybe we didn't know who to please. We pleased the farmers, we pleased the consumers. So we compared the price of a 50 kilo bag now and the 25 kg of Mealie-Meal. So we are finding that actually now most consumers are affected. But this was okay to give them that price, the floor price, but it has affected a lot of us now. Of course, looking at the last farming seasons when most of the produce was sold, you see. So the solutions that we can give the government is reduce the farming inputs. That's the number one. Not by giving farmers prices that are seemingly above normal, you see. But let them give them reduced input prices, like fertilizer. If it can come to 600, those are areas where they can work on, rather than giving fertilizer at 1,500 or 1,200, you see, and increase the base of feasible beneficiaries, rather than removing some of them, you know. I have had a lot of people from my own setup who came to me to say help with the fertilizer issue. Yeah. Most of them were removed. But how do you expect the same peasant farmers to cultivate and benefit or add to the food basket of the country if their fertilizers are not given? We saw what happened last time when people were getting fertilizers in buckets. Yeah. Another issue someone spoke about is the issue of pushing ZNS and other government institutions to go into farming as a business. You see, ZNS is capable. Here we have seen the milling plants doing wonders. And let's imagine that they had a lot of farms and produced quite more. They would have at least helped cushion these shortages or high prices. I think we need to talk more. Yes. Maybe you can take note of my number, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Matthews.
Thank you so much. I'll wait for your call.
Okay. I shouldn't forget Matthews. Let me get his number right away so that I don't have to look for it later. Okay, so the Minister of Agriculture released the crop survey forecast. This is a post-harvest survey that shows how much food we have in the country, how much was harvested, and he said we had lost almost 500,000 metric tons because of various factors, and our harvest had fallen from the historical 3.7 metric tons to 3.2 million metric tons. He said, however, we still have a surplus looking at our national consumption, which is also 3.2, and FRA had the storage of about 209,000 metric tons. So he said we have a surplus that would see us in the next year. And they also set up the floor price for maize at 50 kg. It was set at 280 kwacha, and for paddy rice, 40 kg, I don't know why they pack in 40 kg and not 50 kg for paddy rice, they had set it at 200 kwacha, and that FRA would buy 1,000 metric tons of rice, and for Mealie-Meal they will only buy 500,000 metric tons, and the FRA even closed giving millers any maize and asked them to go to the market. But our millers have been to the market, and it's proving very difficult to find maize. Was this 3.2 million metric tons of harvest true? Why can't our millers find maize or cheaper maize? We know that the price of 280 kwacha per 50 kg is contributing to the high Mealie-Meal price. But this is the period when you're supposed to experience the lowest price of Mealie-Meal because it's immediately after harvest. Let's play the video by the president promising for Mealie-Meal to be at 50 kwacha, and now people are asking for the president that the promises, the campaign promises on fuel, fertilizer, Mealie-Meal, street vendors were so many, but the president is doing the opposite. Let me take this call before we allow that video to play. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, this is Joseph from Samba.
Joseph from Samba, kindly make your contributions.
Yes, sir. Today afternoon, I was watching a video from London. Yes, sir. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I was watching a video from London. Street defenders, I'm a street market was Maya.
I'm a street vendors, I'm a traders.
My traders, yes. Very much free, very sharp. Nikulanda Nukoka, Nomba Zambia, Nisha Batamsha Bantu. Emma Sungira Bantu Mudamine. My market, Tatua Quatayano, no market. Emma Sungira Bantu Mudamine. Baba kefe balesisa buna buna fe trasta abantu nabena baramukusta muramwine.
Yes.
So bale kokutosho bale space ukutansi abantu. Mr. Number ino yalapo temu yabo yalapo balafuna. Tata trasa.
Okay. On the street vendors and traders have been very clear. Of course we need order and cleanliness. Of course we need a clean town. But what we should have done was first to give the street vendors notice. That wasn't done. Number two, a proper audit of market stands and trading spaces should have been done, and then reconcile it with the number of street vendors and those traders. And then allocate. That should have taken a month or two to do that process. You give them adequate notice. Colleagues, we respect your activities to sustain yourselves and your family. We understand there are no jobs, but we want our city clean. We want to reclaim our city. However, we're going to do this exercise. We have trading spaces in Matero, in Ilanda, in Chilenje, wherever we could have said, in Mtendere, and in City Market. And here are the spaces. Then you allocate the vendors and the traders to those areas, and you give them notice, and at the end of the month, we'll remove all street vendors. I think that would have been orderly. Our traders would not have been crying in the manner they are crying. That's why they were even chanting for Lungu. Play that video for Lungu so that people see how angry our traders were.
So actually, most of the vendors here are annoyed that quite polite government can remove them from the street, but they are saying let the government provide an alternative so that even if they are going to be removed from the streets, they should have all these women who are protesting against the government.
So the street vendors were very annoyed because they were removed without notice, they were removed without warning, and now we have even proceeded to Yango drivers. I don't know why we are saying that Yango drivers, all the placards and any advert material on their vehicles should be removed. In fact, that's what gives comfort to users of these Yango, Uber or Ulendo, is that you know that it is labeled. It gives you comfort that you are in an actual tax. I know that there are issues around that they want it just to be an app and they want to reconcile it, that every Yango driver or every Uber driver or every Ulendo driver must be registered, must be a registered transporter with the Road Transport and Safety Agency. Again, kanotis mwevantu, by Honorable Garin Kombo. Kanotis, chashupa shani. You can't give people notice. Minister of Transport and Communications to Yango drivers, you couldn't give them an adequate notice of 2 weeks to 1 month, so that then you understand. And you know that the nature of that business is that it allows even private users who may use their vehicles temporarily to raise money. They don't have to be registered with RATSA. That's the nature of that business. Our laws there is need to update our laws with the advent of this technology. So on the street vendors, I'm very, very clear that yes, our town needs and our cities need to be clear. Our CBD clearly was an eyesore. It had become a toilet and a mass market. There was need for order. But why couldn't we bring that order by respecting our traders, our entrepreneurs, our street vendors? Why couldn't we do it in a manner that was respectful, where we do an audit of market stands, we look at the trading spaces, then we reconcile with the spaces to the street vendors that are available. Some could even have been taken to open spaces. I remember that some were taken to, at the height of cholera outbreak, some were taken to Kamwala. There's an open space that was found for them to trade in. We could have done all those issues. At the height of a difficult economy, at the height of all these, you are removing street vendors, Yango drivers. The price of Mealie-Meal is ranging from 250 to up to 350 kwacha. What are you doing? Why are you not sensitive to the needs of the poor? I saw the president at his farm. Is on leave, on working holiday, and he was harvesting some maize. That is very good. But what about our people in urban areas? What do they do, Mr. President? They may not have land, they may not have farming area, and they require jobs so that they can afford Mealie-Meal at whatever the price. I like Eugene's assertion. Eugene is saying, look, let price of Mealie-Meal be high. But Eugene, the counter to that is that provide jobs for our people. Allow the economy to thrive. Allow entrepreneurs to thrive. Allow everyone to afford the bag of Mealie-Meal, because that's our staple food. Yes, it can be expensive, but allow them to afford it. But the food insecurity, everything has been coupled together. You know, how we are bungling the agricultural season and farming of these crops, how we are not managing the exports, the price of maize and then the price of Mealie-Meal are all coming together to affect our people at their most difficult. The number is 0773 783 785 077. Thank you. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba, which is the live on Facebook.
Who's calling? Hello, who's calling?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, yes, you are speaking to Gabriel Zulu.
Gabriel Zulu, make your contribution. Where are you calling from, Gabriel Zulu?
Yes. We are calling in Mandevu.
Mandevu. Make your contribution, sir.
Hello? Yes. Yes. First and foremost, our condolences to our husband.
Yes, former Mandela member of Parliament, Honorable Jean Kapata, lost her spouse, Mr. Kalu, and thank you for those messages of condolences.
Mr. Mwamba, singakambe vambiri because ngakamba chimaoneka kuti kuna vaPF vasapotedzati vaPF vinzi kuita vaPF but kuri ife vamene takuti tenzo kupeza tuma opportunities kulingana na vantu vamene venze mumarket mu Lusaka muja kuti ise uzapeza kanchito kamene kakupata 10 kwacha per day uzaziva kuti if day yonse nipeza kana 10 kwacha mailo meaning ndapeza kana 10 kwacha but 10 kwacha sebuka 5 kwacha ndaponya kachirimba olo manje muntu abwera chabe nokuuza kuti iwe apa mpewa mapezera 10 kwacha tifuna vouta so nobofika chabe nchwachipana kunyumba wabwera wapeza sikuti town sifuna clean tifuna but where amene vachitamu siyabwino and the PND government chikuru chamene vazafunga kuziva nchakuti we are human beings. There is no PF, there is no UPND. We are one Zambia. That's a thing they're supposed to understand. Or if they are making a decision, it is good to let us know, say, okay, for position person, because it's not only Lusaka, in different corners, like he said, in the SOS. Pamande papa hero side. Suddenly, wakambati vakada kulibe. I opened something kakao with my own sweat, my own machine with what I do even something. But wanapwela kunivaliza kuja kuti apa stufu na kuti ukasebenzerapo. But I requested the place mwina nanta offer. Atano. But when we go today, that we have sebenzesa pa the place. But you can't say anything. But today when you say there's no cadarism, there's cadarism, they say there's no cadarism. Nacho kwa kwatenda kwacha zangu. That's a good kashop. Akashop kwa say good. Put banabwera cha kwa press wafungo ngala kachani kwa commander. But there's no cadarism. But it's a typical ground. What can we do? So it's up but what is a PF Guizanani, they were helping us in different ways. Our families, tenzo wapas, tenzo lipira manyumba kumogwino, tenzo wapunziza, tenzo lima kona kufamu. But in 2 years now, I failed even to go and find because I can't manage to buy a fertilizer. That was my contribution.
Thank you very much. A sad story from Gabriel Zulu, and he says he grabbed his car wash near Hero Stadium, and now the UPND cadres are operating from there. And even he tried to have another shop in Chazanga. Same thing happened. That is the place where he went needed to be run by a commander. And he's bemoaning that you are saying that cadarism ended, but he has experienced it himself. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, good evening, sir. This is Mr. Chama calling from Solwezi.
Yes, my brother from Solwezi. Make your contributions.
Yeah, my contribution is that for the vendors, it's quite alright. We need our towns to look green. Now, concerning to that company that deals. Yeah, that company deals with vehicles, Yango. I think Mr. Honorable can think about that because to us who are using Ango, it's more safer than the previous where we are using taxi drivers. Even taxi drivers this time they are more safe than the way they were doing, because you may find that they are found in problems. Maybe the robbers can book them. Even us as clients, we used to take those taxis. We didn't even know that these are robbers. You see, but when it comes to Yango, it's very easy to identify that person. And if you are not booked up to the area which you have not booked, they don't go that side. You know, it's more safer than the way these taxi drivers, the way they operate from without using Yango. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much for your contribution.
Okay,
yeah, on the Yango drivers, I think there's no convincing reason. I know we want them to be registered so that they can be paying taxes, that they can be known by RATSA. That's good. Order is good, but give people notice. And the nature of this application for these hail taxis, hailing services as they are called, is that it's quite informal. It uses both the registered and non-registered vehicles, because all you need is an app. I know government wants to regularize the industry, but adequate time to our people. Be sensitive to what our people are going through. And you are not being sensitive to our people. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mwabombe nimkwa.
Endita yaman mwebani?
Wa Mateo.
Emkwa eba Mateo muletu bino kufuma kwi?
Ku Lusaka leken tulande fyekibemba.
Emkwa ya malandeni?
Nalambirira kushukulanda kupalia shiri ya vendors. You know, nga muli mu government, then every time you want to bring in something, first muru ekona abantu beno nishitamuli leaders yasoma. Nangu nipanganda mulefo kuchinja amafunde. First mukupuli abana panganda olomuba komene panse. Nishitamule tungurura wino abana, because if onasumina fyakweba before tamula lete fili fyonse. Mufile mwaikala mwabachita update. Apapanganda nomba nifine fya kulachitika apa tulefo ku kilo kuli fine. Unlike a situation where you just come to say, lelo na apa napanganda abana kuchika protest, you know? Kutina ino kweti ama rights ni wali pira renti for everything, but because taoba sendele wino kukalaka. So there should be that mutual agreement, understanding to say, okay, this. Then whoever doesn't do what has been said or agreed upon, then you can bring in the law to visit them. Not if you are kweba fikwati mwavuka fe mwalota fe to tuchite fya so. It's not okay. And I'm told, I read the story, the Africana.
Yeah.
And I would check their story as gospel truth. Because, you know, we know that some vendors there, they were evading tax or council levies. So this is also one way of controlling the levies. But we know that we have no money, and the government has to make sure that they are getting money from everywhere. From everywhere. And this is one of the reasons. Let's be clear to our people once and for all to say, okay, this is what we want. So people are being taxed in everything, you see. And now when we come to Yango drivers, Yango drivers, it's not them. It's not individual persons who comes up with this program.
Yeah.
The easiest way we can do is not to stop individual vehicles, but ban Yango or negotiate with Yango to say every month you'll be spending this, you'll be paying this. Openly tell them, give us a list of the vehicles you are running on your app. And they charge per car. It's very simple. They can even ask you to share the same app. Now, whenever it's the monitor. It's very simple and straightforward. They don't need even to start clamping down any vehicles. They can just say, okay, for any Yango car, you need to, like Kuma buses, qualify the fleet number or something like that, where you pay a different thing, not only the road tax, but you also pay for the certificate. Yes, they call it certificate. Even for Yango, if you go to South Africa, the Yango cars have got another disc on the screen to show that it's a Yango. Why don't they just introduce that? And discuss with the Yango guys who are running the Yango program rather than step around.
Yeah.
We know we are sitting on a time bomb. Hunger is roaming. And we've never experienced it in the harvest time in Salah, Mayan. I've never seen. This is the first time since independence.
Yeah.
Getting his own words. It's happening for the first time.
Yes.
So at least if we are buying at least 180 or even 150, we know that by December tukakuma 200 now to register 250 this time. I think your guess is as right as mine in December.
Yeah.
I may end here.
Thank you, Mateo. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mateo has made critical contribution. I like the one on Yango and Ulendo and other hailing taxi services. The promoters of these applications have on the database all the members that have applied to it. And he's saying, look, for example, these companies collect the money online. RATSA and ZRA can collect its taxes using that database. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Than sending traffic police officers to impound and remove the paraphernalia around Yango or Ulendo. Clearly, he has proposed something I love, is that the promoters of these services have a database, because every application you made and it's successful, even their services, even their payment, they get it online. They don't have to see the driver. They don't have to know the driver. When the driver is on the application, they'll get their share of commission to the driver's services. And he's saying, why don't you load ZRI and RATSA for registration and tax purposes on those applications so that you don't inconvenience people. I love that idea by Mateo. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
You're on 10 miles.
Landeni po muyama.
Nde fokulanda ko pa mavendazi.
Mkwai.
Aba mavendazi, in fact, mwalishwa munani kalile ya Lusaka, kwali bokusonkela, wana kuma skulu, mwapusana kefwaiko. Bati abantu nga mwalolesha bale chula. Bambita bale sonkela, taitola itibali wamya, mwali moneka bueno bati. Doleshe niko na pabantu, tabale sonkela, tabale tuwala abana kuma skulu, tabale sokuchitata balingiro kuchitamari mwana sinespesha mnumzambia. Shabesha kwa swabe indimula mwine. Emo basangire mpia shako ya tuwenda kitolani kane. Wenga kwa nisho kubomba. Elonga mwalolesha. Eyo leika la panganda na abana na wakashi. Uringiro kuwapera amafunde wala wapera. Uringiro watampa ogane, ifi ya soto wala tampo kuchita so. Ifi ya so fya lava so. Then niwe na wikala na wakashi mwando kusana na kata ituru mundefo kutitutove. Mundefo kutitutove, tabala ipekanya abantu watobolo la iyalumu. Jinsi abana bala kumana nomo panganda. Etu akumane nomo. Msango wakwe bati. Ifintu ngesa konka inoda. Bane muchitefyaso. Bantu batumisha. Tachani nga abantu bale irishanya mchintu chimwe chine chepule mona nokumono kwa bati yao yapatafiri wino. Yo. Ngezi ya chiralanda bamdala o bambichishingi. Kero muleta mpama funde. Kulingiru mwakonka oda kwa tana tuchitefi na tuchitefi. Abantu baika na wea. Noti muri uyu musango kwa tukisaka fyati yao chiteni. Sefile filamba abantu baredila. Kekuya tibalirira fireponena panchi fireponena pa bantu bare chitefibi. Moni. Ngfe chava. But tachiwe menang fe panon.
Thank you. Johan from 10 miles is crying with the vendors. He says, look, they pay rentals, they pay school fees, they pay electricity, they pay water. They needed notice. And like someone said, one of the callers said, is that, look, you just wake up, nabakupoka fionze nabona ola nama tables, how do you even pay your chidimba? Is right. And I was saying on Yango and Ulendo and other hailing taxi services, the whole process can be online. There's no need for RATSA to harass Arangu, and it can use modern methods even to register. Collaborate with these promoters of these apps and get your share through that forum. I agree with Mateo. So we will be winding up soon. Let me have the last three callers: 0773 783 785, 0773 783 785. Today we're discussing the high price of Mealie-Meal and the high cost of living. We have a very, very difficult challenges in the life of our country. Our country is going through the most difficult period. Our economy is not doing well. The cost of living is quite high. The food and nutritional basket says a family of 6 requires 9,000 on groceries alone, 9,200. This is before they pay their rentals and transport to work. And government has not resolved the issue of KCM and Mopani. We are an import-oriented country, and our foreign exchange market remains volatile. We have high unemployment. There's no money in the economy. And like Mateo says, I've never seen a government, it's the first time this is occurring, where there is hunger during harvest period. There is hunger during harvest period. Is having it difficult to reconcile that. And the price of Mealie-Meal continues to escalate. It's ranging between 250 kwacha to 350 to 400 kwacha, depending on where you are. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Chris.
Yes, who's calling?
This is Chris.
Yes, Chris, make your contribution. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Eastern Province.
Yes, sir. Make your contribution, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mwamba, I think out of all the discussion that you have brought in, I think I'll pick on Yango and the other transportation companies.
Yes.
Intimidate Yango and the others. I think they are not helping us, because I'll give an example that some of us come from different places. When you reach, for instance, Lusaka, we don't trust these ordinary taxis. So we're very much dependent on Yango and Ulendo. Why? Because they are labeled and we are very much secured. Because these guys, they are on database. Before you could even book, the name will give you that, no, this is a taxi driver. They'll give you the fleet number and everything else. So for us, we are very much assured that you are going to arrive to our destination very safely. So now, if you are going to intimidate these people, I think much of us who are coming from far-flung areas who are not in Lusaka, I think are going to be disadvantaged, because even the fare, we're discussing the issue of pricing and everything else. They are actually cheaper and actually they are safe. Whatever happens, because what happens is when I book a Yango, before I reach home, I text my wife, I've booked this Yango, the fleet number, the driver name. So it's actually, I'm secured. Even if I'm alone, I'm not going to worry about anything else. So if they are going to be intimidated, to intimidate these people, all of us, our lives will be in danger. So our appeal is that let the government sit the RATSA and the other concerned partner, stakeholders discuss this issue amicably, because it's helping us, especially us who are coming from different places who are going to Lusaka. I can tell you, Mr. Mwamba, that we have been robbed before by these ordinary taxis. Not only because they are expensive, but actually we don't trust them. But with the coming of this online transportation, I think we are very much safe and we are trusting them. So if the government can really help us, my appeal is that let them just sit down with the RATSA and not harassing these guys. Let's find an amicable solution so that we can help all of us. What I'm telling you is the truth. I think even you, Mr. Mwamba, you have tried, I think, to book Yango. These are the people that you can trace them. They have got the numbers, they have got the rate, and everything else. So, and actually, the government is trying to run out from, they are going to embrace the digital kind of arrangement where even the cash is wireless. We don't want. So why should we be subject to the situation where now we are going to be taken back because we're supposed to be advancing? So if these guys are going to protest and they stop, I'm telling you, the people who are going to suffer the most, we are the consumers who don't have our own transport. Me, I can afford my own vehicle, but how many people can afford their own vehicles? Yeah. Because if you look at from Intercity to Monday, we're talking about 150 kwacha, but Yango will charge you about 50 kwacha, which is very affordable. Okay, if you have 100 kwacha, you spend 50 kwacha, you're going to buy maybe a capamela, like a penta, such kind of a thing. So for me, it's really helping us. So as people who are there, please try to make the people who are responsible, like the Minister of Transport and Communication, and whoever is responsible, please let them sit down and dialogue, and let's bring these things to a logical conclusion. Otherwise, the beneficiary is the consumer, like not you, not you, but me, and the other as well in Chivolia and other places. Yeah. So this is affecting me actually, especially the people that are coming from far-flung areas. When you reach the city midnight, you can't sleep at the city. You can't manage to book a room at whatever the nearest place. So we depend on those people because they are cheaper and actually they are reliable. So please let the government consider that and take the price of all of us who are coming from different places. Even the people that are within Lusaka, anyone, even the copper belt. So please, that is my plea. Let them not just have an emotional decision to say no, because some people are interested parties, because you politicians have got interest, but you might not know. You might find that some people have got private vehicles who think that they are losing business because of the Yango and the Ulendo. But let them look at the bigger picture. How many people are being affected and how many people are being benefiting from this? So the majority of us are benefiting from this transport which has been provided. So let's not using emotional decisions. I think emotional decisions always make people to lose trust and confidence in the governance system of a particular nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, he has laid a good case for the case of Yango, Ulendo, and other tax, hailing tax services that you feel safe as a passenger because you have the number of the driver, you have the number of the details of the vehicle and their phone number, and you can even send the details to the next of kin. And what government is doing is unfair. What government should be doing is to bring together the developers of the app, the drivers, RATSA, ZRA, and other stakeholders and resolve this particular issue. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
London of Augustine.
Augustine, from where are you calling us from, sir? Augustine, make your contribution, sir.
Ndifo kulanda kwa Mr. Mwamba first pali pama vendors.
Okay.
Pama vendors bali rushanya sana because bali ingire first babe bukisha kwe bati mwe bantu tulefo kushitesha so nanguna kunifuaira kwenchendeyaso apera kwa update kuchirafi abantu n'abaya bambi balepo kafifi pepa nkongole then bambi balapa kakapto firafi noko bashitamo filimu fipeta balashitisha so basa solchero basa sanga such fintu na spena so meaning surviving yala bashupa abantu n'ababika abantu abenje uma problem zota balingiro kwisangamo. Number 2, ndera ndakupa pali ashirya ya bayango abo. Abayango transport yali babwino because one nga booking a motoka, nga booking a taxi. Ini booking ine bara kudurisha dhani aka yango yali shipa. 2, kola security ila bapo. Tetu wakusitaki walaenda febwino instaferi yonse fena nguni 01 nguni 02 walaenda febwino so twapapata kuri so fena be katako 40 number 3 ndenda pali ni papa bunga na budula sana bwadula sana obunga so tabale twafa pa mongo obuteko so abalole keshe pali 15 trama vendors na bena balole keshe. And then in the Lombako, number and the Octima Irembako somewhere so that can start communicating about my program.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay, can I talk?
Okay. I think that was the program for today. I've taken the last callers. We're discussing the price of Mealie-Meal, the high cost of living. And along the way, government is not being sensitive, and we've seen in the manner they treated our traders, in the manner that they treated younger drivers. They are totally insensitive to the happenings in the economy. And there are various solutions we tried to discuss. You know my plans about how to tackle the price of Mealie-Meal. I've said, first of all, we need to ramp up production. We need to grow for 400 million people who are around SADC. Don't grow for 20 million people. Don't aim low. I was looking at the medium term budget for the next 3 years, which goes with the medium term plan for our government, and they are projecting economic growth of 4%. Well, that will do nothing for us. It will not get us out of the crisis. We need to plan for economic growth of 10%, minimum 10%. And in the next 10 to 15, 20 years, then we can see meaningful transformation. For the price of Mealie-Meal, I agree with both sides that it can come down by making production go up, or you can make people have meaningful incomes. Not my income here 500 kwacha, I have 1,000, I have 2,000 kwacha. Our people can't do anything with that little money. So it could be two-way, and there are mechanisms and processes that we need to pay attention to. The economy remains volatile. The economy remains the biggest crisis that we have that we are not attending to. As I wind up today, I would like to wish the Chipolopolo, our girls, the Copper Queens. I hope we suffered that humiliating 5-0 defeat with Japan. I hope we can do better and salvage our opportunities, because we are not so lost yet. We still can rescue the situation. So I'll end the program by playing the song, the dedication song to the Copper Queens. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you. And may he be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace as you go to sleep. I hope to see you on Wednesday. And I hope that when we meet, we'll have won the game in the day, so that then we can celebrate this win by the Copper Queens as they face the opponents and attempt to rescue our opportunity in the World Cup that's taking place in New Zealand. Our particular game, I think, will be in Auckland. So God bless you. See you on Wednesday. God willing.
Pake chikonda tuzende Shiporo poro Derumba Wede Shiporo poro Derumba Wede Shiporo poro Uchiche mwele wate ya pole Wala kisho mupira pole na nesa Epa karitete
Chipopangana movida onko papu pampaka pakatwika tevye chiko Twingi shopping ngane tipo Eba wina lero World Cup twagenda lero Papa bulechi Fikari kofa shilechi Imwe fikari Lufya tutwala kufya Lufya tuletera lechikombe Chatulanga lechi Alo twagenda lechikombe Zambla fikari Iwe shipuru
Ole ole papa kwenzi Lega veshime ati Zambia pateni Balange balange Na burugudu burugudu Shiporo poro Shiporo poro Bakura banda wapike Grasi chanda Lusoma mwemba Agenesi musasa Mapepa Mazatembo Magire Tiperem Nadi Ivirini Katongo Oseke Airini Rungu Kabani Fikunkushe Neri Wirombe Anita Mulenga Mode Chirenga Kandirini Musonda Iwe Tia nayo Gloria Sosara Esita Banda Esita Simbuko Iwe Judith Koko Natasha na Nyangwe Misosi Zulu Natisha na Lungu Iwe Adeo Chitundu Fikongoshe Emmanuel Mwamba Emmanuel